you better stop somebody in this league. You got Aaron Rodgers still in that division, guys. And Todd, this defense was not only bad, it was historically bad. You see that picking at 2, 32, and 34, and then 2 threes and a couple sixes. But defense, and more defense.
All right. Good afternoon. Welcome in the Maize and Blue Review. Weekdays at 1 o'clock. We're a part of Rivals.com. We're ready to take off here on this Wednesday, draft eve, and we'll talk about the latest in Michigan sports. You got a lot of Michigan football players sitting on the edge of their seats, and I'd say football fans in general getting ready for the draft tomorrow, and there's nobody better to talk about the NFL draft, in particular the Lions, than the host and the longtime Detroit sports radio personality and the host of Locked On Lions, Matt Dery, who is with us here on Afternoon Live. Dees, how you doing?
Dennis, great to see you, my friend. Doing well, and this is right in your wheelhouse, man. Talking Michigan during the day, and I check you out when I can on Twitter Live, and love being on today, man. Tomorrow night should be exciting.
It should be, and for the longest time, it looked like the Lions were not going to be able to get their guy in Aidan Hutchinson. It looks like that was the guy that they certainly the fans wanted, and I think that the Lions front office wanted. But things have changed in the last week, and it looks like Aidan Hutchinson tomorrow night. It looks like he's going to be available there at number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's so many smoke screens out there, and I think it's weird. It was, a foregone conclusion a month ago that Aidan was going number 1 to Jacksonville. Now it's almost seems like, Trent Baalke's got this secret list of players going back to his days with the Niners that he always kind of went to in terms of freak athletes and upside, and that's what he drafted in San Francisco. So now the talk is Trayvon Walker, which, and as you and I both know, the minute the R in Walker comes out of Roger Goodell's mouth on that podium tomorrow night, Sheila will be sprinting that card up to the podium in Vegas if she's there. Obviously she won't be, but you know what I mean? Let's have some fun with it for Aidan Hutchinson. I mean, this is our mutual buddy, Mike V at the ticket. He brought up a good point about, Aidan, and is he going to be a star? But there's so much more to it. And I understand those that say, wait a minute, Thibodeau might be the next Lawrence Taylor. Is Aidan just going to be the next Jared Allen Light or Chris Long? But for the Lions, unfortunately, it's not just about talent. They have to sell tickets, Dennis. They've got to put somebody on a billboard again. The league was miffed at them last year for their attendance. And Aidan Hutchinson checks all those boxes. So for people to say, well, wait a minute, you can't draft somebody because he looks good on a billboard. No, but this draft is weak. And no one's sitting here going, Kayvon is. There are some draft nicks that say Kayvon is definitely better. But to me, I think this is a home run if he comes there. Do I think he's going to be a 12-sack guy as rookie? I don't know. I watched him against Ohio State and went, oh my God, unbelievable. And then you're right. A month later against Georgia, he barely called his name. So I really like him, but I think that, yes, that will be the Lions guy. Now, again, the wrench in this whole thing is, what if Jacksonville's been putting up smoke screens and they take Hutchinson? Then what would Detroit do? That's another question.
Yeah, and that was going to be my follow-up. On the 3, everybody can have their opinion, and you can have 3 great meals in front of you, and, you can sit around. It's going to be a little bit subjective there. I could make the case for Thibodeau. Trayvon, you could do the same thing, but, here for the Lions, I think you can also make a case that, Hutchinson, he might end up being a great player. It's not like J.J. Watt, who was an all-pro last year. I said, well, he's a little undersized. He's going to get beat up. Might be all right on pass rush downs. I mean, Hutchinson's, he could be a great football player just as easily as Thibodeau and Trayvon Walker. So I think he gets sold a little bit short there because he's an effort guy. Yeah, he's an effort guy with all the tools. The one thing that doesn't have, he doesn't have the long arms that maybe Walker does. And, those things are important. But, I could shoot a hole in Walker, talking about as a defensive tackle playing defensive end. And I can say Thibodeau's all about himself. So it's really just involves, what you want there. But as long as you're zeroed in, I think for the Lions, as long as they're zeroed in on a defensive end, and, I could see, for a million reasons why they'd want Hutchinson, I think, they come away and everybody's going to be happy, except Mike.
Well, I'll say this, Dan. I think that what's interesting about it is I had a source about a month ago, somebody that was not necessarily on the inside every day, but had some inside info, tell me, listen, this Thibodeau thing, it just doesn't fit with Dan Campbell. There are scouts in the building in Allen Park that love Kayvon, but is that a Campbell fit in terms of they go to Indy, they're at the combine, he does 2 drills and he bolts, he leaves town, he's gone. And it's like, that's not a Campbell thing. Campbell wants to talk to the guys in the hallway. Campbell wants guys that go through every drill. Now, for Kayvon, was that the smart move? Maybe it was. He ended up having a pro day at Oregon. And Chris Spielman, Brad Holmes, a bunch of them, 7 Lions, part of their contingent, went out there. So it's not like Kayvon told the Lions you can only send 4 or don't come. So he wants to be here. But the question is are these sources and what Albert Breer reported a couple of weeks ago, is this true that Kayvon doesn't fit the Dan Campbell narrative and type? Again, what is that? Yet to be determined. In 3 years, we could go, oh my God, Dan Campbell was a disaster, and his type of players is similar to the Patricia thing. Hopefully that's not the case. Then you've got a lot of the beat writers now. Dave Burkett, Justin Rogers, last night, Eric Woodyard at ESPN. They all have Kayvon going 2 to the Lions with Hutchinson at 1. So I can't remember a draft like this, Dennis, where we just don't know. Some of it, I think, is an indictment of this draft. And some of it is we just, these players are all very similar. I mean, Trayvon Walker in November was mocked at 28-32, and now he's at 1. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been looking at it like the Jags have 11 and the Lions have 12 and the Texans have 13. There's not really a top 10 like a lot of the guys that would have been in the top 10 last year. They would be, the first players picked this year. I'll buy that. I want to take you to the back end of the draft. It's exciting because the Lions have the number 2 overall pick. And what do you know? They've got 32 via the Rams there, and they come right back and they have 34, which is going to make tomorrow night really exciting. What do you think they're looking at? I don't know if you can zero in the possibility specifically of a QB. Which one of the QBs do you think if they fell there? I know Peter King had Malik Willis not in the first round. Do you think the Lions, that would be the day that they'd be jumping up and down talking about going up there because some people want them to take them at 2. What do you think about the possibility of a signal caller at 32?
Well, I'm with you. If Malik Willis is there at 32, I think they're going to take him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be. I don't think they think he's going to be. Not that he's the next Lamar Jackson or Steve Young, right-handed Steve Young or anything like that. But I think if he's at 32, I think the Lions would take him because, again, you'll get 5 years out of him with the contract, and he can hold the clipboard for the first year, or you can have a package of plays like the Niners did for Trey Lance early in the season last year to go along with Jared Goff. So 2nd and 1, Goff runs off the field. Here comes Malik, and they're running a little RPO action. It's possible. I just don't think he'll be there at 32. I don't think he gets past Pittsburgh at 20. I think there's a chance he could go 6 to Carolina. The rest of these guys, I mean, Kenny Pickett looks like the most pro ready to play now, but how good really is he? And he's 23, 24 that really needed a while to get going and to really bloom into having one really good year at Pittsburgh. And you can't take that away from him. The rest of these guys, Desmond Ridder is a winner. I like him, but he doesn't look like a pro quarterback to me. He looks like a very good college guy that took a Cincinnati program and they did good things. But tool-wise, I don't love him. Sam Howell, I don't love.
No.
Matt Corral, always a party guy. I didn't love the system he played in at Ole Miss and then transferred to the pros. So to me, if there's some receiver that drops, if a Traylon Burks is there at 32, you've got to take him. To me, you need a receiver to go with Amon-Ra and now DJ Chark. I mean, the coaching staff has openly said it. Randall L. and Ben Johnson, these guys are all doing interviews months ago going, we need more receivers. They're like openly begging for it. So that's where I think they could go with 32. I know on your screen you talk about Walker and Dean. Dude, I would love Nakobe Dean at 32. I just don't know if the Lions are interested in adding more linebackers. They've got a ton already. And I don't know how many of them are going to play. I think they'd rather have 3 safeties on the field in some of their packages than 2 or 3 linebackers.
Well, let me give some quick hitters for you. You mentioned the safeties. I saw you a day or two ago mock the safety from Georgia, Lewis Seen, to the Lions, Daxton Hill. I've got the numbers next to him. That's the over and under where they'd be picked. So that's right around where the Lions, that Hill could be there, Seen could be there. Heck, let me ask you the quick hitter. Do you think that the Lions, and you know a lot, but you don't know how this draft is going to fall. I don't even know if Holmes can answer this question. You think they're more likely to package 32 and 34 and move up? Let's say Kyle Hamilton. I see a little buzz about him possibly falling into the teens. Is it more likely that they would package those two and move up and get Kyle Hamilton, or that they would back out of 32 and maybe because it's a long view, look at somebody like David Ajabo and somebody else like maybe a Quay Walker there, the linebacker from Georgia? Which one of those scenarios do you think they're more high on?
I would think that they would want to package 32 and 34. You're right. If Kyle Hamilton somehow fell, would they want to package those 2 picks, or would they want to wait at 32 and get Lewis Seen, or if Daxton Hill is there, take him? I would say, and I said this on my podcast yesterday, if they package 32 and 34, wouldn't it be to move up to like 14, 15 to get Jamison Williams? Maybe there's that receiving group at the top with London, Williams, and the 2 kids from Ohio State. That seems to be the top 4. And then there's good ones, 5 through 10, 11, 12. Maybe that's what I would see the package would be for, would it be to get a Williams or one of those elite receivers if they dropped. I don't think they're going to trade back. And imagine, Dennis, if they got Aidan Hutchinson at 2, Daxton Hill at 32, and Ojabo at 34, your show would be so buttery on Friday.
There's a possibility, there.
You never know.
Well, for the longest time, Lloyd Carr wouldn't let Ron Hughes, they're the player personnel guy for the Lions. They were at, I don't think Lloyd.
That's right.
Invited him into the pro day. So, Hughes was like, well, I'm not going to take it to your guys. So it wasn't until, Jeff Backus and then some Michigan fans were like, hey, I'm going to start following the Lions. They got James Hall as a free agent. But yeah, you want to get more Michigan fans, go ahead and, grab Hill and Ajabo and have an amazing blue line. They'll have some real
hey,
fun days there.
As you know, the Michigan fan base is it's big. So they need bodies in the seats down at the corner of Brush and Adams next year. And certainly Aidan Hutchinson will do that. Look, Dax Hill, whether he's from Michigan or not, he's a good football player.
Yeah.
To me, they've got, Tracy Walker and now Elliott from the Ravens, who's a pretty good player. They need another safety. I'm not a Will Harris fan at all. So if they took Seen at 32 or Hill at 32, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, well, I know people want to go back and, daily you're on talking about the Lions. Andrew Stuber, Michigan guard. I know you talked with him last week. They can go back and, listen to that interview. And every day, you're talking about the Lions. And like Michigan, circling back here and, putting an exclamation point on all of it. This is like Ohio State week, for Lions fans. I mean, this is it. They're zeroing in tomorrow, and Friday and Saturday are going to be great. Everybody's going to be really excited about it. I know it's a lot of fun, to sit back and see how it all plays out. You do a great job covering it. I'm getting into some college basketball. I know you got to fly.
No, I'm good. Hey, ask away.
You want to talk some college basketball?
Yeah, give me 5 more minutes. I'm in.
Okay, 5 more. Well,
wait, I saw this picture last night. Come on. Michigan and Emoni Bates. You don't want that. That's a disaster written all over it.
Well, I don't, the Woodward Sports had this and they connected it to, somebody that, I wasn't sure of. I would have put the particulars up there where this photo's from. But the one thing about the photo, I believe that's Snapchat where you get that black bar there and you're able to write something in. But
yeah,
you don't have a timestamp. Like if this said, hey, here they are yesterday, or there was some kind of something in the back where you saw the date and you're like, okay, hey, these guys are talking at some gym. Oh, okay. That makes me a little bit more, zeroed in on, the possibility. I know there's the connection there, but we don't know when this photo's from. I know I got everybody kind of worked up and lathered up about it. Yeah. You're saying no to Emoni Bates. I get it. Like Michigan fans, like he's not a fit. He's not a culture fit. His dad is, more like Lamar Ball than, anything else. So, forget this, just move on. But, he has been since he's been 13, this prodigy. To me, if he would come to Michigan, this would say that he's not looking for the biggest NIL package, that he's looking to come back home and maybe fit into a team concept. And, he's got the big P next to his name. And anytime you've got lottery written next to you, you take a chance on a guy like that. I don't think Michigan fans agree with me.
What I can't believe is I watched some Memphis basketball last year before he went on this like hiatus and then came back for the tournament.
His back was hurt, according to his dad.
Yeah, but I mean, Dennis, I watched him as a freshman in high school play at Ypsilanti, and they beat U of D Jesuit, and that was his freshman year of high school. He's regressed, in my opinion. Now he's bigger and stronger. He's grown into his body, but from a basketball standpoint, when he was a freshman, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be unbelievable. And I watched plenty of Memphis last year, and he was not the best player on his team.
No,
Duran was. So I just wouldn't go near that. I mean, this is a guy that said I'm a loyal guy when he announced he was going to MSU. I just don't put any fuel to that fire. Juwan Howard has done a really good job. Last year was a little bit distracting at the end with all the hubbub that went on with the Wisconsin stuff. Last thing you need to be doing is adding any more of that to this mix. You got Dickinson coming back. Frankie Collins had a really good March. I think Houstan will come back. I don't know about Diabate. I don't know if that's a lock that he's definitely back. But we'll wait and see. But I wouldn't go anywhere near Emoni Bates. I just wouldn't.
Keith on the feedback likes the George Clooney look that you're rolling.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Let me just say this about Caleb. I was looking at some of his numbers here, and Michigan's in on the Texas Tech would-be transfer Terrence Shannon, and also a kid out of Princeton who is actually visiting today, Jalen Llewellyn. I just put their numbers up compared as a freshman to Caleb Houstan. Shannon shot 257 from three as a freshman and 357 as a sophomore, and Llewellyn 253 and 308 as a sophomore. So Caleb Houstan shooting 355, and Michigan fans are like, he can't shoot from downtown. Well, neither can these guys, or these guys didn't shoot as well as Houstan when they were freshmen. So there is a chance that Houstan could come back and he could get some confidence by going through the process and everything else, and he could be a lethal downtown shooter, or certainly somebody that Michigan could rely on as a starter. And there was a lot of times this year where they couldn't do that.
Caleb Houstan was a disappointment. I mean, you hate to talk about an 18, 19-year-old kid that way, but the amount of hype and the amount of stars next to his name when he came in, and, pretty good class of kids that came in. And I just thought he'd be better. I just thought he'd be more assertive. You and I talk all the time about college basketball when we text and stuff. He was disappointing to me, but when we got to March, he did get better. He absolutely got better. And I think that him going out and testing the waters and seeing, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think he should come back. I just think he's got to hit the weight room and get a little bit stronger. But, Terrence Shannon, from what I've been told, that looks pretty good. So that'd be a great pickup for them.
Mr. Shannon Jr. To you, a little bit of an inside. And for people that aren't subscribing already, and it just doesn't pop up every day on their feed, Locked On Lions, you just go to wherever you get your podcast, it pops up, you subscribe, you listen to it, and it is Michigan Ohio State week for you guys this week. So it's going to be great.
It's crazy. We had Mike Renner from PFF on yesterday, and he's all over Hutchinson. He loves Aidan Hutchinson. And then Scott Nelson's going to be on today from, of course, U of D Jesuit, played as a starting safety at Wisconsin. He was at the Lions local pro day a couple of weeks ago with Aidan, Dax Hill, Sauce Gardner. So he's got some stuff today with me telling us about, how he met Dan Campbell and all of that. So it's kind of cool insight to hear from some of the people that have been at these pro days and have been interviewed from the Lions. Like Scott, I would love to see Scotty get a shot with the Lions, maybe as a 7th round pick or even a UDFA, because he's a pretty good football player.
Well, thanks for giving us your honest opinion. No to Bates, yes to Hutchinson. We got you down there.
Yeah, I'm good with Aidan. And again, Dennis, I think there's people. I just hope that everybody realizes that once these players are selected, especially in the top 5 or 10, it is such a crapshoot. Mike Renner said to me yesterday, that I said, what if Aidan goes 1? What would you do at 2? And he said, from Pro Football Focus, he would take Sauce Gardner. He thinks Sauce Gardner is the next best player after Aidan Hutchinson, if you just talk about talent. But
That's
the
not
Lions,
well
as you know, Dennis, the Lions can't take another corner in the top 3, can they?
No, absolutely not.
Imagine, you know.
No, they can't. They can't take Sauce Gardner. I don't care if he's the next Dion. It's not happening. It's gonna happen. It will not happen. All right,
let's talk about last night's ending of that Tigers game. Have you ever seen anything like that before? Oh my gosh.
Well, I've never been able to say this to you. How about those Guardians? Eric Haas airmailing it. No, that's a bad one. That's the kind. There's wins that can catapult you forward a little bit, and winning one on the road like that would have been something for this team, especially starting out in Minnesota. The whole Correa and the way Baez was swinging the bat yesterday, and the way Correa is not. But ending it like that, oh man,
I've just never seen anything like that before. That was pretty crazy for sure.
I didn't like that. Well, I know you're big on the Pistons. You love baseball, and you love football. That's not bad. We just got to get you more. Getting in there on the Mo Sider, train, and you do that.
They need to get bigger on the blue line, right, Dennis?
There it is. All right. Thanks for your time, Dees. Have a great day and continued success there as the Locked On Lions.
Thanks, buddy. Great to see you.
All right. See you later. There he is.